Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, in my 3-4 class. So you are an experiment. I'm going to try to use a program that will record the screen, and I'll be able to teach you as if I'm here, and you got to follow along. And what that will require is you'll have to stop the video. When you get to the point that you need, and I'll tell you to stop it, you stop the video. You are working in teams. This is not an individual thing. You're going to have to find a way to work through this with your team. You should have already done a word sort by now. The substitute should have taken you through a word sort. And now it's time to get into the cell phone, question number 4. We're doing question number 4 today. I posted question number 4 on the Google Classroom, and it's about the history of panic. So you need to have question number 4 up. You need to pull up the article in Kami. And once you do both, then I want you to use evidence from the text to answer question number 4. All right. And I want you to pause the tape after I'm done saying this, pause the recording. And after you have answered question number 4, I want you to start the recording again. Now I'm going to assume that you have answered question number 4 using evidence from the text. I can't display the data of responses because I'm doing it before you've even answered the question. So we're going to talk through this one. It says the author likely included History of Panic 2, show why worrying about smartphones is silly, put concerns about smartphones into historical context, explore how other magazines report on technology, help readers understand the technology of the past. So I'm going to go back and find the section History of Panic. And if I go to the article, History of Panic is on the page 7. And I'm just going to skim and scan. Here's the heading, History of Panic. It says every era of technological change has triggered panic. Ancient Greece, Socrates hated writing things down, thought people would forget it. There were similar fears. I just want to point out the term fears. When the printing press was invented, they thought there would be too much information. And then we go down to listening to music while doing homework. Panic. I want to point out that word panic. That's like fear. And now we start getting into the technology of today. And then if you see here, are these fears just jitters about the changing world? So if we go back to the question, that section talked a lot about fear, concern. And if you look at choice B or choice 2, put concerns about smartphones into historical context, that's exactly what they were doing. They were sharing in the past how people got concerned with advances in technology. That is the best answer. Now, some of you might have chosen D, help readers understand the technology of the past, but that really wasn't a section about. They mentioned briefly some of the technologies of the past, but it really didn't go into depth. There wasn't anything about how magazines report on technology. And I felt this was that kind of stinker answer right away. Talk about smartphones being silly. It really didn't talk about that. So the best answer is B. Okay, so now that we are done our cell phone question, now it's time to move on to our next activity, which is learning about Percy based on chapter 1, which we read in class yesterday. So in Classroom, you will find an assignment that's called Learning About Percy. And for this assignment, you need to have a book with you. So if everyone in your group does not have a book, what you need to do is stop the recording right now and send a person to go and get a book so that everyone has one, not just one book for the group. Everyone needs to have one. When it's time to start this assignment, we're working on a couple of things today. We are going to use a short answer strategy called EASE in 6th grade, EASE. And we're going to begin breaking down that process with today's assignment. If you look at the sheet that you've opened up in Google Classroom, and you should all have a copy of it, I set it up so you'd all have a copy, learning about Percy. The directions say, answer the following questions, following my directions and the model. Now, I'm giving you the directions right now as I talk, and I'm going to show you a model. Question number 1 says, what does the following quote tell us about Percy? Now, here's a quote from chapter 1, right at the beginning of the book, actually. If you're a normal kid reading this because you think it's fiction, great. Read on. Now, the question is, what does this tell us about Percy? I'm going to go down to the space that's right here in between. I'm going to change the text color to blue, dark blue. So I want you to do that. Change the text color to dark blue. And you're going to type the following at the beginning of these answers, questions. After I'm showing you the model, you're going to do 2, 3, 4, and 5. You're going to say, this quote shows. I want you to start your answer with this quote shows. Percy doesn't consider himself a normal kid, and that he believes that what you are going to read next is a true, made a mistake there, true story. So this is completely in my words. The quote shows Percy doesn't consider himself a normal kid, and he believes that what you are going to read next is a true story. I say that because fiction is false. So he says, if you want to believe what you're going to read is false, go ahead, read on. But he actually believes that it's true, and he doesn't consider himself a normal kid. And that's what I wrote as my answer there. Now, you're going to work as a group to do this with the next question. What does the following quote tell us about Percy? Notice they all stay the same. They all start the same way. What does the following quote tell us about Percy? Here's the next quote. Am I a troubled kid? Yeah, you could say that. Now that says something about Percy. What does that say about Percy? You've got to come up. You've got to choose the text color dark blue. And you're going to start with this quote shows. And then you are going to tell me what this quote, am I a troubled kid? Yeah, you could say that. What it tells you about Percy. Try to do more than just says this quote shows Percy's a troubled kid. Go a little bit more in depth than that. That's the simple answer, but I'd like you to go a little bit more in depth. We go down to question number 3. What does the following quote tell us about Percy? But Mr. Brunner, our Latin teacher, was leading this trip, so I had hopes. So what does that tell us about Percy and his relationship with Mr. Brunner and what he thinks of him? Remember, you're going to change your text color to blue, and you're going to start with this quote shows like I have in my previous one. I'm going to leave you to do that one without any help from me. And the next one, what does the following quote tell us about Percy? I hope this trip would be okay. At least I hope that for once I wouldn't get in trouble. You're going to start this out. Actually, we're going to do the next 3. You're going to start this out in blue, up here. You're going to do it in blue. This quote shows, and you're going to tell me what this quote shows. It's going to be in your own words. Number 5, what does the following quote tell us about Percy? Grover tried to calm me down. It's okay, I like peanut butter. He dodged another piece of Nancy's lunch. That's it. I started to get up, but Grover pulled me back to my seat. What does that quote tell us about Percy? So you're going to start. This quote shows. All of your answers, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and I know 1 I already gave to you as a model, they're all going to start with this quote shows. And you're going to answer in your own words what you feel this quote shows to you. Once you've done that, it looks like I'm going to have to make a second video because my recording is going to stop right now. Okay, so you're going to have to find this. I will show a second video to show what to do with 6 and 7.